Hey everybody, welcome to this quick crash course in filtering data in Microsoft Excel. I already have open in front of me the spreadsheet that I provided to you representing past crimes in the fictional city of Cold Bay, Washington for a couple-year period. Now, this data set isn't entirely complete, but it really is quite difficult to make up tens of thousands of fake records, especially in things like the notes story table over here, story field over here. So I'm sorry that not everything has something like this, in that it does not approximate a real data set. Also note, as you do your comparisons of current crime to past crimes, that many of the crimes that are in the current PDF file take place within this range, not after the range. Okay, so you might find some crimes that are from 2010, some from 2011. Even though the data set goes all the way through the end of December 31st, 2011, for the purposes of searching for past crimes, you want to assume that at any given moment, the present crime from that PDF file that you're concerned about, the one that you're searching for potential matches for, represents the present. So if you're reading about a commercial burglary that happened on December 5th, 2010, when you do your searches for past crimes, you want to pretend that December 5th, 2010 is the current date, and thus don't look for anything that occurred after that in searching for your past crimes. So let's take an example. Let's say, for instance, that we had a robbery on January 15th, 2011, and I want to find everything that's happened recently that's been a robbery to see if it's a potential match with the one that I'm looking at in my present stack of reports. I start by turning on the filtering options here in Microsoft Excel. We can do that by going to the Data ribbon. And by the way, this is Excel 2010 that I have here in front of me, but if you have Excel 2007, you'll find that the commands are pretty much the same, except you have a big glowy Office button here instead of a File menu. I click on the Data ribbon and then turn on the Filter button here. And when you click that, it assumes that the first row of data represents your column headers, and it puts a little drop-down arrow representing a filter option next to each one of the column headers. With this filter option, you can then do different types of filters on the data. For instance, I'm only interested in looking for robberies, so I go over here to the offense column and I click on the drop-down menu for the filter, and it gives me a list of all of the different crime types that are in my database. They're all checked, meaning they're all currently visible. If I didn't want to see one of them, for instance, I don't care about 911 errors or alarm calls, I can uncheck them, hit OK, and my data filters now to show only the ones that were checked. Note that down at the bottom here it tells me how many are currently selected out of the total number, and the row headers change color, which also helps determine that the data is filtered. So all I really want to see is robberies. So back here in the offense column, I'm going to uncheck everything. Now I do that by clicking the Select All button. That selects everything, but if I click it again, it unselects everything, and now no data is going to be shown. I go down here until I find robbery, check that, hit OK, and now only my robberies are present. Now if I'm only concerned at robberies that happened at a couple of limited types of locations, I can scroll over here, and for the location type, I can tell it I only want to see robberies that occurred at drugstores, grocery stores, and hotels. And with just those three checked, my data is now limited extensively. I'm down to 8 records out of the 61,000 that I started with. That's probably as far as I need to go. In fact, it's probably a bit too limiting, so why don't I turn that filter off? And instead I'll do a date filter. I said that it was, I believe, January 15th, 2011, so I'm going to go over here to the date and time of the report. Well, it should have the time in it, it's just the date. Anyway, the date of the report column here, and choose, oh, it does have the time, it's just not formatted that way. Well, that was a mistake on my part. Okay, the date of the report column here, I'm going to click the drop down, and it's already aggregating them by year. so I can choose to only see certain years. But what I'm going to do instead is do a more complex filter here under date filters. And I'm going to use a between. So I'll say where the date of report is, well, let's go back, say, 6 months to August 15th, I guess it would be July 15th actually, 2010 to the present date, January 15th, 2011. I hit OK, and now my data is filtered only to show those recent crimes. This is a manageable number. It's down to 10, so I probably don't need to filter anymore. This represents all recent robberies in the city of Cold Bay. Instead, I can go over to these other columns and start scanning the data, looking for commonalities between the most recent robbery that we've had and the ones that happened in the past. If I find enough commonalities, I would make the decision that we do have a pattern. The story field here, and this is going to be your clue in a lot of cases that maybe a pattern exists, has more information than the discrete fields. It's quite long in some cases. You can expand the size of the rows so that more of the story fits. Now we've got to wrap that column first. If I select the column and go to Home and Alignment and choose to wrap the text, which is one of these options here, there we are. It more fits in the column, and I can have a better chance of actually reading the entire story, however you want to do it. But the point is that the story field will have additional information about the crime. And again, based on the stuff in here, the suspect descriptions, the modus operandi, and other factors, you can help determine whether or not a crime exists. Okay? That's a very quick crash course in filtering in Microsoft Excel. Again, you start with your raw data, you turn on the filters here on the Data tab, and with those filters turned on, whatever field you feel like filtering, whatever field you feel like limiting your search results to, you can simply click on the drop down and either do an exact match filter using the text boxes, or for number fields and date fields, you can do a number of different filters based on the date. Okay, where between, equals, greater than, less than, and so forth. I hope that gives you enough information to go on. If you have any questions or it's not working for you, obviously feel free to call me or email me at any time. The deadline for this assignment is not a hard one because I know that you're going to be exposed to this material for the first time. So don't freak out. Just call me and let me know what you're having trouble with. I will be out of the country during week 3, but when I get back, I'll be able to do remote connections to your desktop and help you directly if you need that kind of assistance.